about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. Easy Blues. Easy Blues, you are always better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us on the broadcast today?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. If we were ever judged by a single action in which we accomplished, then we would forever be a broken society. Understand that together we can rise up and we can grow. Understand that true intelligence is putting things together as you are struggling through some of the hardest moments in life. This next guest rose up when most people would be knocked down. This next guest understood that he needed to grow and move and mature. This next guest saw the writing on the wall and really understood that it was about changing the life and changing all of the manners that are necessary. For that and that alone, I want you to put your hands together. Not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2. Because we don't need any accidents, but mentally, put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the stupendous, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Larry Mccown is in the building today. Blessings, welcome, benvenue, and how are you?
I'm well. I'm blessed, feeling blessed to be here, be alive. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Now, for those who don't know, you are this incredible author, but you're not like a normal author. Like you're not sitting here writing the next Oregon. You're writing stuff in which is actually affecting the people when you're dealing with financial stability and financial intelligence and equity. Those are some of the most important things that are out there. And the way that you came about discovering this is a different way than other people did. I don't want to tell too much of your story. I want you to be able to tell your story, and I don't want to leave any spoilers. So you can tell as much or as little as your story as you want to tell, but feel free to tell a little bit of the audience and how you became a writer.
So, again, my name is Larry Mccown. And I grew up in the city of New Haven. And, growing up in a city, urban community rather, I grew up idolizing, let's say, a lot of guys that was on the street corners and, even my father, even though he had, a 9-to-5 job, he also hustled on the side. He was in a drug gang. And to make a long story short, I took a liking to the way these guys were dressing. It appeared at the time, being young, that they had a lot of freedom to do what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. They looked good. They had the material things, right? And they had the girls, and it appeared that they had the respect, not understanding the dynamics of how the mechanisms of how life works,
Right.
So I took a liking to it. And eventually I end up getting into that lifestyle, starting to sell drugs as early as 14 years old. I was hanging in the clubs with my father, which he also owned a nightclub, Larry's Lounge out in Fairhaven on Ferry Street.
Oh, wow.
Back in the early 90s. And so, being out there, involved in that lifestyle, that kind of lifestyle, I ended up getting, at 17, getting caught up in a crime that I'm not too happy of today, but I ended up on a trial for murder and getting sentenced to 65 years to life. And within that time frame, behind the walls, being incarcerated, I actually was 5 years while I was incarcerated to have my aha moment. And when I had my aha moment, realizing that the choices and the decisions I made in life not only affected me, but it also affected my loved ones as well. Because, you know, when you're a kid, you don't really understand that. You just think people are trying to run your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You don't want to listen to nobody. And I'm like, I know the consequences of my actions. I deal with it when it happens. Right. Um, but yeah, so, you know, during that time, that aha moment, and all I could hear is the sadness of my son, my little sister voices, and my mother's. And that's when it dawned on me that how my actions, my choices and decisions had an effect on them as well. So at that time, I said, if I get the opportunity to see life on the other side of those walls again, what am I going to do to not come back to prison like I've seen so many guys within that 5 years come in and out of prison?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know? And I started thinking about, which I talk about in my book as well, is how I started asking myself questions: what could give me the same adrenaline rush as the streets gave me? And over time, I've heard about people talking about investing in stocks, bonds, and real estate, but I really wasn't comprehending that language. So I started going off asking the older guys that I seen walking around with books and seen appeared more serious than other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then, make a long story short, that's where my journey began. You know, if they didn't know the answers to my questions, they would send me in a direction where they felt like, you know, I can get the answer. So that's how my journey of transformation started, right? At the same time, trying to fight and learn law to get myself out of prison. But during that time, I did a lot of introspection and retrospection and to figure out how I landed up in prison. I had to go back and trace it all.
Mm-hmm.
So what I thought about during those moments is how, like, in my community, how much we actually didn't know as I continued to educate myself by reading books. I got into philosophy and just breaking down morals and characters and certain universal principles about life. So I have to say, with philosophy and psychology, that helped me grasp a better understanding of what life's really supposed to be about. And start questioning my own so-called belief systems and how I've been influenced by the men that I looked up to in the street and who I've been influenced by. And so once I started breaking that down myself and learning these things, the school wasn't teaching me these things. After that, I then thought about finance. You know? And like, we come across a lot of money, but it's like well, where it went. And I come to realize, like I talk about in my book, Raise to Blow Money, how your value system is directly in alignment with how you spend your money. And so I learned that, like, in my community, when I'm doing this retrospection and introspection, right, is how in my community, how we might look like we have money, but we really have nothing. So learning about assets, what are assets and liabilities, through reading these personal finance books. And I do not sit here today and proclaim to be any financial guru. I'm just talking about my own life experiences. And my goal is to start more of these conversations, because a lot of people get uncomfortable when it starts to talk about money and finance, you know, and nobody wants to reveal, you know, what their credit score really look like. You know what I'm saying? Even in relationships with
true.
You know,
so true.
It's hard to come to the table and really talk about it. So I'm trying to, through my book, Raise to Blow Money, I'm talking in the language to where disadvantaged and marginalized people, you know, that come from where I come from could understand. I'm trying to make it cool. You know, to get a hold to the younger, out, as well as the adults,
Right.
and to make them feel comfortable with talking about financial literacy.
Right.
You know, so like I was saying, learning about these assets and liabilities, I came to see how people, and it's just not, I learned also, it's not just from in the inner city. If you
Right.
look at the statistics throughout America, you know what I mean? A majority of the households don't have enough money in their emergency funds. So if something happens, they don't have any money to pay for their bills for a year.
No lie detected.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no.
Yeah.
No,
So
no lie detected at all. I mean, a lot of people don't seem to understand this, and this is what I love about your story and how it's continuing to go through. You know, we live in a society that, because of the way that we were raised and as we were raised to blow money, as you said, and you can check that out in his book. I'm just saying, raised to blow money. But you know, really, it's the truth. It's the truth of the matter is we always are been positioned to be like the Joneses, be up, have to have the best thing in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
If your homie is rocking all Adidas from the sneakers all the way to the jumpsuit, you got to make sure you're rocking the Kango as well. But the Kango's got to be a certain type of way. And all of this is more important than actually being able to eat that day. I remember many a times I would sit there and it would be that choice of, do I eat today or do I make sure I look fly tomorrow? And those type of aspects are there, and it's a control issue. Obviously, I mean, we're watching the middle class become less and less and less because Reaganomics is a lie. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be a jerk and say it. And if you give to the bigger class, the upper class is going to take. They're not going to give back down. But if you give to the middle class will reinvest in their community and continue to grow. These are things that we're supposed to be taught in school that we're not. Right. And that's obviously to keep us all, because if we're dependent on a street economy, then we're dependent on breaking the law. If we're dependent on breaking the law, then they can depend on us to break that law so they can pick us up, and now we can be cheap work later moving on.
Absolutely. And I like to say, through other people's ignorance, a lot of jobs are made and created and sustained through a
so true
ignorance, right?
Yeah. So
and
true.
The economy is highly, funded, or should I say, through ignorance, because you become more the consumers. You spending money. Because this is the things that I realized, and reading and studying and reflecting, is that
right.
Where I come from, people tend to value more how they look than to actually build financial stability for their future. We living in a time where I want it now. And a lot of times where I come from, like, people don't have that patience. They want it now. I need money now. I need to do this. And I want to hit the lottery. But it's like, okay, if I gave you $1 million today, what would you do with it?
Right.
You'd probably get hit with tax evasion. You probably, you'll be broke tomorrow because you're going to spend your money on everything that depreciates in value, as opposed to, investing in assets that appreciate over time.
Right.
Or you can make a profit off of. You know what I mean? So now in this day and time, my thing is, right, I have no problem shopping at the clearance rack. I don't care about the, you know what I mean?
Love clearance.
Right? Keeping other people rich while I stay poor, right? Today in time, instead of shopping for labels that I can't really afford, right? Or even if I could afford it now, but I'd rather shop for online banking that give me the highest yield for my money.
Right.
I shop for the next investment. You know what I mean? How my money can make more money. How could I generate passive income? Because everybody say they don't want to work for the rest of their life, but your actions are showing otherwise.
You are your routine.
That's correct. We get caught up in life with so many different distractions. It's like, I can't find the time to read.
Right.
Or you don't want to read.
Well, no, and it's one of those things is how can I look towards the future when I can barely rub two nickels together right now and eat?
Right.
You know, how do we talk? How do we build this extra knowledge on wealth and this extra, financial literacy when we're all reading at like a fourth grade level right now,
Right.
if that.
Right.
That's really, I would love for you to help educate those that are sitting on their couch right now going, oh, I'm sure this worked for him because he had the opportunities to work. If I had some time to myself, I'd be able to do this too. But there's always going to be that hater there. But this is the reality is you're an average everyday human being. You did what you needed to do, you move forward, and you grow, and you're continuing to grow. How do we get that aha moment for that person that doesn't have to look at life from that point of view that you had to look at it?
How I feel, right, is that if you listen to most people when they're speaking, right, everybody want and they feel like they want a better life, or they don't like the conditions of their life right now. But we make time for what we think is important. We make time to go to the movies. We make time to do these things that probably don't add no value to your life.
Right.
We need to make time for ourselves to recenter and figure out what our purpose is, because that was a big help for me to define what is my purpose here on earth, right? We have to make time for ourselves and really think, am I where I want to be in life? And if not, then what are the steps that I could take to improve? We have to make the time and stop giving excuses. Now, it takes great discipline. I didn't evolve into this mentality overnight. And I talk about that in my book, Raised to Blow Money, how like it just didn't happen for me overnight when it comes to learning how to manage and budget my money and save. You know what I mean? Like it took some time, right? And we all, even to this day, I might get a little bit outside, carried away sometimes going in the mall or something like, or online, and then I have to reel it back in. Hold up, you bugging.
This is the time to talk about it. December is the time to talk about it.
December's to talk about it because the holiday season is always where I'm gonna work all year to be broke as broke to show people that I love them when I could just be telling them every single day, homie, I love you.
But if you look at you when you think about it though, it's just all on your perspective about life in general.
It's true.
What are your principles? What are your value system like? And a lot of times when I listen to, it's only because I know the things that I know now, and I took the time out to educate myself and reflect on things to where I now understand, like, oh shoot, like we come from a distorted world of illusions, right? Where what we think matter and it's important because mainstream society in America is promoting individualism. And if you don't have this, then you're nobody.
Right.
So when you think about people that don't have an identity and don't know themselves or anything like that, and they live in a society that says if you don't have this, then it's like you're worthless. So now you have a people that say, I gotta have this to be looked at as somebody. And so now this is where you have people that's going into great debt. Even the middle class, their mentality is no different from the poor.
Nope,
they just got more bills. They just look better. They could live in a nicer house. But they're still in the same predicament as the poor people, living paycheck to paycheck. So now, as my sister said in her book, Mccown, right? And I used it in a financial literacy class that I taught while I was incarcerated, is that now JOB just turned to just over broke.
You taught a financial literacy class while in college?
Yes.
Wow.
I was
wow, that's inspiring. Wow.
Yeah, I was elected by when Governor Malloy was in office.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Vera Institute of Justice and
Mhm.
the commissioner of DOC, Scott Simple, when they went to Germany and they, did a tour of the prison system over there. And so they brought back the ideal of trying to treat prisoners with dignity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So a pilot program, it started out as a pilot program, true program, in Cheshire Correctional Facility back in 2017. Now, they didn't expect for it to last too long, but now it's still standing today.
And now you're on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City, Maine, Mr. EZ BlueZ. Larry, continue. My apologies.
No problem. And myself as well as 9 other mentors help establish that program for emerging adults 18 to 25, and then more mentors who paved the way for other lifers and things like that to come along and continue to, put some skin in the game and help these young prisoners, these young adults that would now return to society. So within that program, they allowed me the space to actually create my own program. So one thing during my reflection and learning and things like that, I looked at how teachers, right, where you have one individual trying to teach and educate 25 kids, people that are all at different reading and comprehension levels.
Right.
So in classrooms, some get left behind while the others that's able to grasp the information quickly move on, and that's the teachers a lot of time will spend a lot, focus on them. So I wanted to create a program understanding where these young men was coming from and all that they were dealing with, to be able to sit down with them one-on-one and have a class with them, because I knew how important this information is, right? And give it to them at their reading and comprehension level. So I perform, it's time consuming. And we all say we want a changed world. We like our societies to be better, but people just don't have the time. And everybody care at their own level, right? But when you're talking about changing or helping young individuals, it requires a lot of time. And often time that a lot of adults don't have to give, because they have their own lives. They got to pay bills. They got all these other things going on in their own lives. So when I sat down with these young men and taught them this financial literacy, and I try to make it cool for us.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And so seeing the results of that, and I also did full classes, seeing the results of that, even with some of the older gentlemen, mentors too. And they start saving and budgeting, and I was teaching them how to invest their money while in prison, and how to help get improve their credit score while in prison.
Wow.
And they was like, they were so like, it was sold. And now it was an intrinsic reward for me to see now, instead of them asking their mother and grandmother for money, they was now able to send money home that help them take their loved ones out.
Wow.
And honestly, the book came about where these young men was like, yo, why don't you write a book? Because now at this point I had given some time back, right? To where I would now be able to go home, and based off of the work that I was doing behind the prison wall, that's how I was able to give back. The court modified my sentence and figured that my value was of greater use out in society than to stay behind the prison wall. So the young guys was like, why don't you write a book? And that's really where the idea came from, them pushing me, because I was no longer going to be there. Did you leave? Are you going to leave a curriculum? Man, this got to go on. So I thought about, well, I don't want it just for the true program. I want it for everybody, incarcerated people and their loved ones abroad. And that's how the book Raised to Blow Money and build a financial awareness for the incarcerated loved ones came about. And I said, you know what, you're right. I don't know how to write a book. I never did it before. But some authors of mine are I have some friends that are authors, and they just start writing.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And that's how it happened.
Now, without giving out too many gems, because we want people to actually purchase the book and, you know, get your knowledge, what are some ways we can discipline ourselves financially? Doesn't matter what age you are.
1 second before you do that, I just want to help readjust our thinking right now and readjust the way that we talk about things. Before people invest in the book and invest in themselves, we want to make sure people are investing in the book and investing in themselves, because that's the truth aspect in there. We can blow the money any way we want to blow the money, but when we're getting this book, we're investing in ourselves to grow our knowledge and to grow our financial literacy. So we're going to say invest in ourselves.
Man, that's like my question times 1,000. Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
You did the Uno reverse card on my question, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad. Go ahead, sir.
So I think big part of it is you have to make up your mind and say you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, I believe in making a blueprint for your life.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't matter what I say to you, you know what I mean, or you say to them, they have to want it for themselves. Right. And I figure if I could just say some things, if I could just get somebody to start thinking, just think differently, they'll save themselves. They're going to motivate themselves. Like, I got to go get this. You know, it's not easy, but you have to want it more than I want you to want it.
Right.
That's what it boils down to. I'm not the one with trying to fluff something up, you know what I mean, and say what you want me, I think you want to hear. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I put in the book. It's coming from the heart, and I believe in moving through life like that. Just speaking from the heart, either you don't accept it or you don't. I know what that information does for those who really want it for themselves. People talk all the time about, I want to, like money management. Let's just say this, right?
Yeah.
Something I talk about in the book, Ready to Blow Money, right? So I break down money management. A lot of times, people who are not financially literate, they think money management means just saving money. Right. But they never consider inflation. So if you just saved money and put it in a shoebox or something like that, and the inflation rate goes up, that $50 or $100,000 or $1,000 in that shoebox, or just sitting in the bank and you're not earning no, it doesn't have the same buying power as it did yesterday. And you're going to be mad about it. And you're going to say, all right, man, the cost of living is high and it went up. Yeah. But this is where you have to educate yourself. You got to want it to invest in things that where your money can grow with the inflation rate, where you still continue to get, paid as such, right? To keep up with the cost of living. But I don't know if I hope I answered.
No, I think first of all, you nailed the question.
You nailed the question,
but you went above and beyond that, and I want to thank you for it, because I love the knowledge and the passion in which you speak of. This is incredible, and I'm hoping that everyone at home right now is sitting there with their pen and pad right now, taking notes and making sure that they are picking up the book, because this is so super, super important. As we continue to move forward, and that's what I want to say. I love this for those that are, incarcerated and trying to move forward. But even this is kind of like, I look at it as a pre-incarceration book too, because if we can get these principles taught at a younger age, having, like, I would love to see you do a speaking tour. I would love to see you in some high schools, talking to the borderline aspect of it. Because remember, there used to be a time in which we were taught how to manage our checkbooks in the school. We're no longer taught that. We're no longer taught any of that.
But can I just say this?
Yeah.
Even back then, getting taught how to manage a checkbook, it doesn't say how to manage your money. So
exactly,
I want to hit on that point where I was going, like, as far as money management. Money management skills meaning not only learning how to save, but how to invest, how to establish, preparing for your future retirement, right? And It's how to budget when it comes to, when I'm going to go to the grocery store and get my food. What do I need versus what do I want?
Right.
And when you think of the word management, you really have to think about, like, in order for you to get a manager position in a job, right? You have to learn managerial principles. You have to get taught some managerial principles, how to manage the place before. You have to get some sort of training or education in order to learn how to manage a workplace or supervise other people. So when you hear the word money management, and I talk about this in my book, you have to educate yourself on money in order to know how to manage it. You have to know how to manage your money, where it needs to go,
Right.
Right? Where to put it in order for it to grow. If you don't have that education or training, you're not going to be able to manage your money. I had to learn this not only through reading, but I had to learn it through trial and error.
Right.
But what prevailed over it all was my value system. And that's what helped me keep myself in check when it comes to money. Now, like I said in the beginning, it's not like sometimes I don't get carried away sometimes because I get happy. Like, oh, shoot, I did this. I made this much profit on my investment. Shoot, I got some money to spend. Mm-hmm. But I never have no money what we call it, extra money. If I'm not rich and I'm not where I want to be in life financially, what extra money?
Right.
See what I'm saying? So sometimes when people get some money that comes in unexpected, like income tax time, I got extra money. I'm about to go.
Yeah.
They just giving you your money back that they was holding for you and say, and now you taking it and go blowing it.
That next week or the next 2 days, gone.
And the next two, and it's
gone.
And now you sobbing again, like, freaking bills.
Yeah, but I mean, you got that nice trinket though.
But still, it's discipline. It's discipline. That's hilarious. Easy. It's hilarious. But
but Joe, you have these nice things, right? It's like a get high.
Yeah, it is.
It don't last. Because real happiness comes from within. You have to feel happy within yourself.
What are your thoughts on the lottery?
Huh?
What are your thoughts on the lottery?
The lottery, I mean, shoot, you can try your chances.
Right.
People win the lottery where you from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I always hear about people winning the lottery so far distant, so remote from where I'm at. I'm like, I'd rather reinvest in stocks that pay dividends. So now those dividends, right, that I get from my stock could pay this bill every month. And if I have multiple investments that's paying dividends, I could take this money and pay for my bills to where I don't have to work as hard. Instead of working all this overtime, now I got time to spend with my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or time to invest in myself through reading or getting some more education, going to school or something.
Right. That's facts. That's facts. Invest. Not a lot of people want to invest or take the time to do it and learn it.
Because of the fear. Sad. Yeah. Because of the fear. They rather invest, try to play lottery to win instead of investing in something. Because where the fear comes from is when you don't have knowledge of something. So when investing, you're talking about a calculated risk. Again, I talk about this in my book, Ways to Blow Money. It's about making a calculated decision.
Yeah.
With the more knowledge you have about something that you're about to invest in, the more that fear go away, and the more likely you're going to make a profit. All investments come with some sort of risk, but it's about making a calculated choice, a decision to invest in whatever it is that you're going to invest in.
Absolutely.
Well, And looking at it exactly that way, using that language in particular, you've highlighted why lottery is not a good. It's a high risk with a low reward,
Right.
type of investment, instead of investing in something that is low risk, high reward, which is what everyone is looking for. Everyone's looking to put the least amount in so they can get the most amount out. And that's just how we're programmed. Like it states in your book, raised to blow money. That's how we are programmed. But when we can start to use that programming to benefit ourselves, when we can start to use some of these techniques to help grow, that's when we're fully going to be able to make those changes that are necessary. And yes, it is possible, to go from absolutely nothing to being stable. It is possible. I know it's hard. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of pain, but you're going to grow through it, and you're going to go through it, and you're going to grow through it, which is one of the best things that you can do out there.
Absolutely. Man, listen, trust me, it's something I didn't like to read. Sometimes I still don't, but I know I have to in order to keep growing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You stop learning, you stop growing. Right? That's something I read, during my journey. Right? And like I said, you have to want it for yourself. In February, it'd be 2 years that I've been home incarcerated. Since then, I wrote, this is actually my second edition of Raised to Blow Money. And I started my own business, BlueZ Cleaning Services, LLC, which is a residential and commercial cleaning.
That's awesome.
So I've got a couple contracts there, but
Nice.
I'm pacing myself. You know what I mean? I'm working, and I had to cut some things out, some other jobs, but at the same time, I'm investing my money where my money is working for me.
Right.
And you can do anything. Anybody can do anything they put their mind to.
Yeah.
Even with just saving $1 a day, it's 365 days on a year. If you save $1 a day, that's $365 at the end of the year.
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
At least you have that at the end of the year when you say, "Dad, I'm broke. I got living paycheck to paycheck." That's not the American dream.
No.
But yeah.
WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Mr. Elm City made EZ Blues. Larry Mccown is with us here on the show. Tell me about the press tour. Tell me about the book tour. You were just at Milford yesterday. And just tell me about that experience and just meeting new people and just telling people about your story and your vision, how exciting it was, and just tell me just a little bit more about that experience with the people and the public.
Right. So, before this was actually, yesterday was actually my second book signing since my book has been published.
Congratulations, man.
Excuse me?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And through It's the Room, It's the Room is a Black Business Alliance that was in Milford Mall.
Okay.
L. Woods, she helped sponsor that, invited me into her store to do a book signing. It's a beautiful experience for me being free, and continuing to do the work and share this information with people. I sold out of my book, and then at the same time having some pre-orders that I have to, fulfill. But prior to that book signing, I was at Science Park in New Haven, October 5th, where that event was sponsored by Culturally Lit.
Nice. Great things about them.
And Possible Futures Bookstore.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was invited by them to come to that event and do book signing, and that turned out. I'm just loving the experience of being free with a different mentality, not looking for, to be in the limelight and anything. This is a passion of mine to help share information with people in general. It's not just for one group of people, but what I've learned, a lot of people across the board need financial literacy.
Right.
And I just love helping people. Like I put in my book, I start my book off with the question of, you know, a lot of people always say they love life and money.
Mm-hmm.
If life was your last dollar, how would you spend it?
Mm.
And then at the end of the book, I put how I would spend it.
Right.
The thing is, I wouldn't spend it. I would invest it
Right.
in hopes of gaining more life.
Right.
Right?
There you
Get
go.
more life, more money, so I can help more people.
Yes, but the genie said you can't wish for more wishes.
Yes, you
The
can.
genie said I only have 3.
Yes, you can.
Let me ask you this: who is the genie?
Exactly. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to hear. Who is the genie? I love that aspect of it,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to hear, and that's what I want more people to say: is who is that genie that is pulling those strings?
Who came up with these things?
Exactly.
See, because this is how I challenge my own beliefs, and you know, my philosophy of life has changed drastically. My whole paradigm has shifted when it comes to life and how I looked at life. I had to challenge, like, wait a minute. Well, who said this? You know, and what make them right? Where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got to break this thing down now because a lot of people that I looked up to, and I still respect them. You know,
But they were so wrong.
But they was wrong, and I feel bamboozled. You know.
Exactly.
So now, because a lot of times what happened, and I talk about this too also in my book, how I ran across people that say all of these powerful phrases like knowledge is power, knowledge is power. And then I read this book by Napoleon Hill that says knowledge is potential power. And then I had to break that down because that was a different phrase I never heard before. And now I get it. And so I break it down in my book, Raise the Blow Money Now. The process of knowledge is potential power. See, so what it is like people, I've run into people that know a lot of things and they sound really, really smart, but they're not applying what they know. So it's not useful for them, but for somebody like me that's going to listen, I'm like, and take it and apply it, it's going to be more useful for me than them.
Right.
I'm going to benefit from it than them. So now the process is first you got to acquire the knowledge, right? And a lot of times once you acquire the knowledge, now you kind of like got to organize it because you can get knowledge from anywhere. Right. So now you got to organize it. You got to have a blueprint. What is the purpose? You got to have a purpose for why you acquire knowledge.
Right.
Right. And then second, you got to apply it. Mm-hmm. You got to put it into use. Only applying it and putting it into use, which is the second step of the 3-step process that I came up with, that you're going to see the results. It's going to come a favorable outcome for you.
Right.
Without that process, you could talk all you want about what you want out of life and what you want to do for people or whatever. You can sound really smart at it. Mm-hmm. But if you're not applying it for a specific result, then it would never come to fruition. Your dreams, your vision. And I think that's where a lot of it starts from too, just having a vision.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just having a vision.
What is your vision for the future? Where is Larry Mccown, my apologies, in 2025 and beyond? You seem like a goal-oriented person, just within this great conversation that we're having throughout the broadcast. Where do you see yourself next year, 2025 and beyond?
Next year, 2025, I want to invest or purchase my first investment property. That's the goal, you know. Just right now, just studying and just looking for, you know, private lenders and things like that will, you know, willing to lend me the money. And I want to play with the flip properties at first to build my capital, you know, fast, you know, and none of this is easy now, you know what I mean? But this is what I want to do for 2025. No, not what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do.
Love that.
There you go.
Love
Love
that.
it.
I mean,
Love that.
see, language is powerful.
Extremely
you gotta
powerful.
be careful what you say.
Of course, I agree.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually working on that right now. But because it's so much out here that we can do and we have the power to do, sometimes I got to reel myself back. Oh, slow down. Don't try to take on too much at one time. Trying to build a business, doing book for, you know what I mean? I don't want my peace is everything first and foremost.
Right.
Money, I just want to build a generational wealth to leave behind to my family. But I've already started talking to like my son and my nieces and nephews and my sister, which is on the same page as me. We collaborate to try to build, well, we on the verge of building generational wealth. But like I tell my sister and I told my son, it's like, if y'all not financially literate and y'all don't learn about this, we not going to work hard to leave this behind to y'all so y'all could just blow it. We rather donate it to charity or something. No, it's not happening. We work because it's not easy.
No,
we working hard and just so we can leave it to you. So you're not going to have a better life. You're just going to have better things for the moment. And then you broke again.
Right.
No, you better start showing some efforts and educating yourself. If you're not going to listen to us, you better do something to educate yourself. If you're not getting left, no, your name ain't going to be a no beneficiary. Serious. I'm not playing.
It's important, and these are the conversations we need to have, because when you have those people that are coming
100%.
from generational wealth, they think they can do whatever they want to do, and there are no consequences. But of course, there are consequences, and you want that generational wealth to survive generations, not just one.
Absolutely. And this thing is, and sometimes we may look at people that was born into wealth, which is good for them, but even them have to also put in the work to learn about money in order to keep it going. Because if they don't, then they'll eventually go broke.
Yeah.
So everybody got to put in some type of work to educate themselves, right? It just don't come on. It just, you might be given, it might be given to you, or you might be born into it, but you still got to put in some work to learn about it in order to keep it, to sustain it.
Definitely.
What advice do you have left for us? Because the time is unfortunately coming to a close. Because I felt you gave everything you need, but I feel you have so much more since you're really intelligent. What piece of advice you have left? And please plug yourself. This is what we do for every single guest that we have on our program. Please plug yourself to the fullest, shamelessly plug. Give us the social media. Give us any future dates to this amazing book tour you have, and anything you got coming up. These last couple minutes, Larry, are for you. So go right ahead.
Well, my email address is at larrylmccown@gmail.com. Anyone that purchases the book, feel free to provide feedback, if you will. My business email address is birdseyecleaningservice@gmail.com. So you can go there if you want to book an estimate for us to come out, this residential or commercial cleaning in your area. I serve the New Haven, Harford County area with residential commercial cleaning. As far as future book events, book signing events, as of right now, I'm in talks right now with someone, but we don't have an actual date.
Okay.
But it may be at Milford Mall again.
All right.
But I don't have an actual date right now. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Larry Mccown. I just keep it simple. I don't have no nickname.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's the best way. That's smart. That's the best way.
You know what I'm saying? I just, yeah, as of right now, that's where you can follow me at. I'm thinking about going back on Facebook. I had to, like I said, trying to recenter. You know what I mean? And try to. I'm not on social media as much. You know.
It's healthy. That's a healthy option.
Yeah, you know, people tell me all the time about how, like, you know, you need to be up there to put yourself up there, and then you gotta. That's just a, yeah.
Yeah, but so that's the thing is you can schedule.
Yeah,
that, you know, like I'll take
that's
a
a better
day.
wording. That's better wording.
I'll take a day and invest in doing 8 hours of social media, and then take that time and schedule it to be released, and then not deal with it for a week. And I'll see you again in a week later, and I'll just program it out, and I'll let AI take it over. It's so much more fun for me.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, I will consider that. You know, and I will consider that. You know.
And I will consider you being on the guest again. You got an open door policy, Larry. We appreciate this conversation. We appreciate your intelligence, and we appreciate your stories, and very, very inspiring. And anytime you want to come on and join us for a great conversation and give the people great advice, you are welcome. That's a promise.
Man, I appreciate it, man. And I I also hope, man, that people will look up True Program and learn more about that, because they need a lot of support too. You
Definitely.
know what I mean? We also aired 60 Minutes back in 2018, 2019, and I appeared on 60 Minutes as well. And it showed a little clipping of where I created the evaluation board along with my co-workers, my co-mentors rather. But yeah, those are things, man, you can look up and see more of me on 60 Minutes and the True Program.
Larry Mccown, everyone. Preston, Easy Blues, WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, and we appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.